Hi guys, please like, share and subscribe and contact this number if you want lectures related to any CM, CS or CB subjects. Thank you. So just to move on and get perspective on a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, I would like to understand that you have always worked in the life domain, right? So I have two specific questions in this regard. First one, how does it differ to work in a core insurance company and a consulting sort of setups or KPO sort of setup, right? That is the first question. And the second one is, when you are working in a life company, you have a broad actuarial department, right? So how many people are there in Sun Life, like the actuarial team, all of it?
I think at 22, around
22. Yeah. So are all of them working on the same thing, or are there sub teams within the major team? So is there a pricing team, a separate valuations team, and like what are the different teams and what are their various functions? So if you can give us an idea of that would be great.
So I'll give you a detail. So this answer will be slightly longer. So I'll give you a detailed answer so that all your doubts will be kind of clarified.
Right, sure.
So if I go too much, just interrupt me and stop me.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so I'll just like to correct you that there are three setups. One is core Indian company. There is KPO. There is a consulting. KPO or consulting are not same. These are different.
All right.
Okay, so the core is a company or something like HDFC Life, SBI Life, ICICI Life, who has their own product, right? So this company are reporting to IRDA. Basically, the regulatory reports has to be produced. So this company, there are mostly in actual department. Overall, there are three departments in life insurance. That is pricing, modeling, and valuation, right? So pricing would be probably the most easier work out of this. All these three are hard, but out of these three, pricing would be the easiest one. That you can see in their paper as well. CT5, basically the price, the chapter 11, 12, I think, the price profit testing. That is the pricing paper. Then the harder one would be, slightly harder one would be the modeling one, which would be kind of explained in ST2, right? So, and then the most hard would be the valuation one, which is the SA2 paper. There you have to kind of memorize the regulation and everything.
Right.
So these are the majorly actual department can be kind of split into this three. So an core company will obviously have these three departments, right? So people will either work in pricing or valuation or modeling, and they try to kind of interswitch between all these three departments so that they have experience of all these three departments. Now, for a person to become appointed actually, because every actually is kind of aiming for that highest position, right? So that person would need minimum 3 years of work in valuation, right? So valuation, that's why valuation is even tougher. That without at least a 3 years of work you can't become an appointed actuary, and even after qualification you need around 5 years of work probably. So there is a regulation around that. So that's why appointed actually has to kind of follow that, right? So the work that we do in pricing would be majorly so that that the setting up the premium, right? So that is one of the work that we do. Valuation can be split into two works. One would be shareholder reporting, one would be reporting to the regulator. So for the regulator, they are more interested in the policyholder protection. So there the prudence concept and everything come into picture.
Right.
So those would be the prudent numbers that we are going to report.
Right.
And for shareholder reporting, they are more interested in the future profit and not in the prudence, what the best estimate probably is. Right? So they would be interested in the best estimate, the profitable part of the embedded value, the VNB. Those are the shareholder reporting part. And then the modeling would be kind of working to make all these regulations or all the pricing things to incorporate that in a software, which is where profit or GGO access comes into picture. And they code those in a software so that valuation team will run those things and they will get the result. So we do not calculate reserve manually like we calculate reserve in CT5. We run a software, we get the result, right? So this are so for a core company, they, especially for the valuation team, they are doing two works: embedded value and the shareholder reporting and the regulatory reporting. So different team has different time when they are kind of quite occupied. So pricing team, as I mentioned, most of the Indian companies are pricing between February or relaunching a product or launching a product between February and March. Then those will be submitted to IRDA for approval, and that's why you'll see So it will take some time, around May, June, they will give the approval. So that's why you see in June, there will be a lot of advertisement of life insurance product. So because those repricing has happened. So here the work you do is core work, right? Mostly, and as I mentioned, interns should be hired for something very manual, right? For that BAP portal. So interns should be hired for that. An experienced person will do real hardcore work. There the work-life balance goes for a toss because that's how the mindset has been. People before me would have worked 16 hours when they are at junior levels, or 18 hours during the reporting time that consists from April to June, right? There will be no work-life balance, and that's how it is, right? So, and they would also expect their junior to do the same because they have done the same, right? So,
don't
but
you think an individual working for 16 to 18 hours of a day just means that the company is underemployed? Like you need more people so that the work can be
yes, it is
divided
true,
further.
but we do not have that mind. We come from the British rule, right? We have that servant mindset that
Right,
people below me is my servant, so
right,
that person has to work, and because I am also servant to someone, so we had that.
right.
We do not have that that king or
I
the
mean, you
employer
have so many unemployed freshers in the industry, and then you are just taking one person and making him work 16 to 18 hours a day. What is
and
the
that
meaning?
person is
This
also
is a
happy,
right.
and that person is also happy. That person is thinking that I'm learning something
Hmm.
by putting my other
I
life at
think
stake.
this is the biggest myth, and the biggest brainwashing technique that you just give
That
immense workload and all sort of health distress to a person just by
yeah,
giving
that's the
the dream of. Hmm.
unfortunate truth. Many companies are working to change that. For example, I have heard recently that SBI Life has passed some kind of
Right,
charter that people working before this or after this hour would have to kind of close down, or have to, their managers has to explain. So companies have worked in that direction, but mostly most of the companies are not. So in
right,
this period from April to June, people who are in valuation, they would be working in severe pressure. The people who are in
right,
pricing team, they will be working in severe pressure from February and March, right? Because that is the time. And modeling team would probably have a uniform pressure throughout, right? So whenever some new product is implemented, they has to model. So they would work in pressure in April. Whenever some new concept, like for example, if a company is going for IPO in Indian sector, then embedded value reporting is must. So then
right.
they have to build that in profit, right? So they would have a balanced kind of environment. Now, because of this, because and in core companies, what also happens is, suppose you are my manager, right? You have a thought process about something. You are implementing something. You have a thought process. Now, suppose someone else is your manager. He had a different thought process, right? So you give me instruction initially, like do this, run this, and get this result, present it in this format. So I have done that, right? Then your manager instructed you to do something else. Then I am doing that in a completely different manner. Then the appointed actually comes and he negates everything and say,
He turns
no, you
around
got
the whole
everything.
thing altogether.
Then
There's
that
lack of
person comes.
communication here, don't you think?
Yeah, in project management language, I call this requirement gathering. Requirement gathering is not proper. So what happens is, a person is doing one work at least
Right,
4 to 5 times, and the amount of work that you can do is limited. Like regulatory reporting, obviously there are three types of reports that you are going to produce, or five types of reports. So in one quarter you are producing five reports 20 times, right? So that's why a person who is so that person is doing that work in quarter one. That person, quarter one numbers have not be reported, but we're just checking how the numbers are moving, right?
right,
So quarter one, he's doing the same work. Quarter two, he's doing the same work and doing it 20 times. Quarter three, he's doing the same work, doing it 20 times. So after 1 year, that person is very very knowledgeable about about that work, right? Because he is working 16 hours, he's doing the same work 20 times, different ways.
mm,
So that's why you see a core person would be getting a more knowledge, like would be more knowledgeable, who has done a core workets, uh, as compared to a person who is doing KPO and in consulting. And in fact, in consulting, you'll see most of the people are hired from the core sector, right?
right,
Not from, very few people will be hired from the KPO setup. That is because of the reason they are doing the same work 20 times, right? However, what happens? So I initially also had this myth that the people who are from core sector, they are very knowledgeable. They are like the industry giants.
right,
I'll get to learn so much from them. But that is actually not correct, because had they been so good, they would also clear their papers. They would also have knowledge about data science. They would also know how to improve the process.
But
They
how do
would
you
probably
expect
auto.
someone who's working 16 to 18 hours a
Exactly.
day
That's the,
to
you
clear
have taken my
exams?
right. You took the sentence from my mouth, right? So that's, if you are working for 16 hours, you are left with no energy, right? Even on the weekends, sometimes even on the weekends you are working, and even if you are not working in the weekends, you are going to say, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to study in the weekend. Let me take some rest, right? Let me go
Right.
out and let me release this pressure. So they can't develop themselves in something else. They can't, for example, learn an Excel. They can't learn a VBA. They
Right.
can't learn a Python, right? So that's why you'll see lack of innovation there. And the work they are good at is because they are doing that work for 20 times in a single work quarter,
Right.
right? So in that work, for example, if someone is doing embedded value work, he has done that for 1 year, that person would obviously be very knowledgeable in that embedded value work,
So,
because the
so
gamut.
the kind of work that people do
Yeah.
in core business and the kind of work people do in a consulting or a KPO setup, is the work
Mm.
very similar? Is it just that the core people are doing it repetitively? Also, like when
Yeah.
I go to a consulting or a KPO setup, do I get the
Mhm.
same amount of variety of work, like in terms of valuation, pricing, and modeling, or is it
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah,
doing
coming
the
to,
same work again and again?
yeah, coming to that. So like I think the core setup is now clear, right? Why they
Right.
are why they are knowledgeable in one particular domain, right? So that's why they are knowledgeable. Now coming to KPO setup, KPO stand for knowledge process outsourcing, right?
Hmm.
This outsourcing word is very important. Now, what sort of work will you outsource? For example, what sort of work we normally outsource, right? For example, we order on Zomato to deliver food, right? Because that we can use that time to do something else, right? We can
Right.
relax probably. So that is the work that is manual, that do not involve much of brain activity,
Hmm.
right? So those are the works that we are going to outsource. So a company which is sitting in US, and company is going to outsource the work. So company is obviously outsourcing that work because cheap labor is available. That is the primary reason. Also, the level of talent that we have can be matched to US. But when they're initially outsourcing the work, they would not have the confidence to outsource very difficult or brain work involving activity to India. So mostly what we like, all the KPOs have probably started in 2008, 9, in that time frame. And the work mostly they get are very manual kind of work. So it would be like this: A, B, C, D, E. A, do this, like for example, make some change in Excel. B,
It's a
run
process
this.
oriented task.
It's a
It's a
process
process
oriented.
work. Right. Okay.
Yeah, so
And
I'll not name a company, but most of the pension companies, right, where bulk hiring happens, they do
right.
this kind of work, like A, B, C, D, E. Now I have to run a profit. You run the profit, result come out, it is as per expectation. You are like very happy. Oh, it is matching. It is matching, right?
Right.
But you have not applied your brain. You have not applied your.
But
So that's why
then
this
there are some life insurance based outsourcing units as well. Are they any
yeah.
different from the pension ones? Do you think they're very similar in terms of the quality
So
of work?
they are most of the KPO setup are similar.
Similar.
Okay, I'm coming to everything now. Now, how is it different from consultancy? Now, consultancies, for example, KPMG, a Deloitte, a UI, they work mostly with core companies. For example, IFRS 17 implementation. Then this is a new regulation that is coming into picture, right? So, why a core company will hire consultancy to understand the industry practice that is going on. Otherwise,
Right.
an appointed actually probably be much more knowledgeable about a life insurance sector in India than a consultancy person would be.
Right.
But a consultancy would have said 20 business from 20 other people, maybe from Europe, maybe from Canada, and that's why that person or that company would be more aware of the industry practice that is going on.
Right.
So there would be some shady areas where we have to implement something, and there the consultancies will help. So that's
Sure.
why consultancies will hire from core companies who have some knowledge about India. So here the work will come in projects. For example, IFRS 17 implementation. That is a project for which probably a company like UI, a company like KPMG will hire people. And
Right.
whom they will hire, whom those people who have some experience in IFRS 17, or those people who are working probably in the core sector, so that they can communicate in that language to the senior person in that sector. So there the outsourcing thing doesn't matter. Now few of the consultancies has also moved into KPO kind of setup, because that generates revenue for them, but that is not good for an actual student as such, right? So
Right.
they would not get to learn more. Now coming back to the KPO setup, once the initial phase is over, like once say 3-4 years are over, the US management or the Canada management now is able to trust, right, that these people has delivered for so many years. Now they start giving in good work, right? So now they will at least few of the people who would be a top performer in KPO setup, right? They would be getting good work. The only thing that will probably so only time you'll probably get very good work in KPO. For example, although I'd not like to boast, but Sun Life had very good work, which is much better than the core work, because your work-life balance is maintained in a certain way. Although currently we are facing some issues, but the work is much better because we started with IFRS 17 implementation. Now there in Canada, those people do not have any knowledge about IFRS 17 because it is new concept, right? Here also we do not have any idea about IFRS 17 when we started. So for a KPO to get similar kind of work like a core does, it has to be in existence probably for 10 years, and none of
Right.
the KPOs in India are that old, right?
Right.
And mostly the management changes. For example, recently EIG has been acquired by Accenture, so the management changes. Now then again there would be some time lag before someone can trust that management, right? So that's why obviously if you work in a core setup, you'd be learning more about a particular thing in a short amount of time, right? You have some expertise over there. For KPO it would be mostly knowledge based, uh, it will be mostly process based basically. And consulting, once again, unless you have some good domain knowledge about some area, for example embedded learning or a participating product, which is kind of difficult for others to understand, you'll not get into consulting. That is, consulting people will obviously look for some experience, and they're right in their way to do so. But for a KPO, but however, what helps in a KPO is that you will get this training. For example, if you want to learn profit, a KPO which is probably working in profit, that company will teach you, because they are not in hurry to, they don't feel that thing, because anybody can do that work, right? A
Right.
person, a fresher can do that work because that work level is not that challenging.
Right.
And what I was mentioning, that only time when a KPO would get good work if something is coming which is completely new, which is, for example, in IFRS 17 example that I was giving, which was new for Canada, which was new for us, and they were kind of building a team to support them. But because it was new for them, a lot of important work and good quality work came to us. And once it comes to us, we'll keep that, right? If we can showcase that. So that's a 1 in 100 kind of situation. Otherwise, your knowledge level would be better in a core company. But yeah, over a period of time, it fizzles out. Like if you are working in a KPO for 15 years, and someone who has worked in a core company, say for 10 years or 12 years, then this person would be, assuming they have same equal level of sincerity level, they would be at same at par kind of level. But yeah,
Right.
that time has to be spent. So that's kind of the summary of this three setup.
Sure. Quite a long summary there.
That's
So
essay, not a summary.
so let me just get some more perspective from you. So in terms
Yeah.
of a few quick questions here, what are the kind of softwares do you use except for Profit and GGY Access and things like that? Are you guys moving to a lot of R and Python and that sort of programming, in particularly in life insurance? Is there some
No, no,
application?
no, no. Very less in Python. R we don't use.
Okay.
So these are softwares which would be used by mostly by experienced studies team, which deals in data and assumption setting, which
Right.
is our
Right.
CT basically. But because life insurance is a long term kind of business, so here we have Profit to do those projection and calculation, right?
Right.
Uh, you will see most of the software being used in general insurance industry, because that is a short
Sure.
term business and there is no specific software. So
So
life insurance,
you feel that data science obviously has more application on the non-life side, right?
no, I don't feel that. I think data science can be used in life insurance from my personal perspective, but the management would not go for that so easily because they have spent a lot of amount in purchasing those enterprise level software, right? So you can't just say that one day I'm going to build say a software or a application for annuity product in Python. They will not trust you. Even the regulator will not trust you. So, for example, why Profit is so popular in Indian industry? Because the regulator uses that, right? Regulator will use Profit to verify your model, to audit your model, etc. So that's why half of the industry will use Profit, right? There are companies who are not using Profit, but then their model might be put into question. Now, the last thing that you want to do is, after a lot of hard work, after 15, 16 hours every day, you will get to a model and say this pricing is not proper, because as per Profit this should be the price, and this is as per this as per your Excel application, this is coming out to be this is not correct. So your
Right.
16
So
hours
there is
of
some
work.
bureaucratic inertia involved here, right?
Right, right.
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
especially for life insurance, for general insurance it will not be such.
Yeah. So I mean, you have almost only worked in life insurance, but what is your perception of the other industries like life, except for life, that is general
I have
insurance,
also
health,
helped
and
a lot of I have also helped a lot of people from general insurance because I worked in AIG. So I
okay,
was working in the experience studies domain. There I had to deal with data mainly,
right.
and so I was using software like SAS and SQL.
Hmm.
And one thing that I'd like to believe, like for example, that package. Why would a salary of 1 crore be given to an actuary, right?
Hmm.
So that the reason is because an actuary is a combination of three people. One is a coder, because if you actually have to know coding,
Hmm.
then obviously an actuary, a person actually, and when you grow, a person has to kind of be a good project manager, because there will be a number of projects you have to
Right.
multitask a lot,
Right.
right? So these are the three skills that an actuary must have. Now, when I was working in AIG, they are also working in SQL SAS. I used to work in SQL and SAS, and they would face some difficulty in coding. And I had so I initially, when I started my actual career, I faced a lot of difficulty because I was a project manager. I only got PPT presentation skill at that point of time. I didn't know how to use VLOOKUP, how to use offset in Excel. I was made fun of. But as we were discussing before that, few people can take those feedback as an insult, and I was probably kind of mature enough to take that as a improvement opportunity. So I did lot of certification on those part, and good certification which are recognized. For example, I see uh, like one of the example that I can give you, that when I take interviews, there are many people who write VBA Excel in their CV, and when asked some question from Excel or VBA, they say, I have only basic knowledge about Excel or VBA.
Hmm.
And that is probably the biggest blunder that you can do to yourself. Like if you
Right.
do not have any knowledge, you can't say that I am a basic actuary, right? After clearing 15 papers, you can't say I'm a basic engineer, right? How can you say I am at a basic level in Excel and VBA after putting
Sure.
that in your CV? So
Right.
I put a lot of focus on that, and that's why software coding is one thing that I excel at, and I continue to do that in my entire corporate career. Any
Right.
software that comes, and I have a special liking for them.
Hmm.
So I was able to help a lot of general insurance people write their
Right.
code, and I believe that they are the people who are kind of using the data science right now, because the management is much open to that, because they were using SAS. Now SAS is a costly software, right? And
Sure.
then now they can use the same thing in Python. They can use the same thing in R. So the management is open. So management is willing to accept that. For a life insurance, that can happen, and
Right.
in general insurance they are happy.
Just to get
Yeah,
some
yeah,
perspective, uh,
yep.
as a fresher, obviously,
Mhm.
people don't have a lot of choice in terms of which
Right,
domain they go into. And as it is seen, whatever is the domain most people start with, they stick there, right?
right,
But
right,
then,
right, right.
what would be your advice to people who are starting out new and who would have some option in that terms, that should they be going for a life department, or they should be going for a GI pricing, GI reserving, pensions? How to make that call?
Yeah, so I think first of all, change in mindset of fresher is required. That is a very important thing, because most of the fresher that I talk to these days, they believe that they are charity case. Like
Hmm.
someone, if they give job to that person, then that person
They're doing
thinks
some
that
sort of
okay,
favor to them, it
they
feels.
favor to them, right? So that mindset needs to change. Obviously, you are getting an internship opportunity because you're better than others, right?
Right. Sure.
I have obviously seen something in you. That's why I'm giving that job to you. So first of all, that should be changed. Now for a life insurance kind of internship, that person needs to ensure that there is some bit of software that is involved. If that is not involved, like Profit, GGO Access, that has to be involved. So that person need to ask this question. Like many times in interview, I ask, do you have any question? That is the last question that interviewers ask normally, right? So people normally ask, what is your feedback about me? And once again, that is a blunder that you are doing, right? That's a ridiculous question. That's a childish question, and you would probably be rejected on that question alone, right? So you should not ask that. You should ask what I can gain from this profile. That should be your perspective in asking
Right.
that question. So I think any intern should ask, because normally even when I was putting internship opportunity, it's very difficult for me to write that what exactly that person would do, because we do not have that vision as of now. But uh, we can ascertain that that person will be working in a GGY Access or other softwares, right? So an intern who is going for a life insurance kind of interview, he or she should specifically ask whether I get to work in Profit, whether I get to work in GGY Access, any modeling software, because that would go a long way in helping him in or her in furthering her career. For a general insurance kind of domain, if that person is going for a that kind of role, so pricing and reserving, unlike life insurance, pricing and reserving is more simpler in general insurance. Sorry, reserving is more simpler in general insurance, pricing is much more difficult, which is the reverse in life insurance, right?
Right.
So 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 that's why if a person is getting an opportunity in pricing, then that person should grab that with both hands, right? And general insurance software is not that important, because you can learn it in home. You can learn Python in home, you can learn R in home, you can even learn SAS in home, right? So that is not that important. But if you
Right.
are getting but you'll see that most of the work that is kind of outsourced, for example, this companies like Excel, Kathleen, or whatever, those are general insurance companies like AIG. They are working on reserving because those are the easier work. That's why
Right.
those are outsourced, right? So I don't think a lot of people will get the opportunity. Yeah, and one thing that I may forgot to mention before you ask me that what sort of work that we can expect in a KP or consulting, that I was not able to answer before. So you will mostly in this kind of, in a general insurance kind of setup, will mostly expect reserving work. In life insurance kind of setup, we mostly expect work which is closer to modeling. Why? Because pricing, there will be some regulatory problems, regulatory restrictions, that you can't share data of customers with some other country. That's why
Sure.
pricing work would normally be not outsourced. For valuation, a part can be outsourced, a part cannot be outsourced, because there are some confidentiality agreement that would be there with the regulator. So most of
Right.
the valuation work cannot be outsourced. A very simple portion can be outsourced. So mostly you'll see in life insurance, modeling work would be outsourced. Most of the companies will be working in that domain. Similarly, in general insurance, reserving work would be outsourced, because those regulatory restriction does not apply to general insurance. So if a person get opportunity in pricing domain, that person grab that. Pension, I think, is not that a big sector. Probably because most of the people that have worked in pension, they are working in pension just to make a switch to life or general at a later point of time. And unless someone is looking to grow into pension sector, I think a person should be mature enough and be patient enough to get a life insurance or a general insurance. So yes, if you are willing to grow into pension sector, right, if you willing to stick into pension sector, then go for it, right? But I do not have much idea about the pension sector, so I would not
but but
comment
but
on
then there is this industry perception that once you have a KPO pension employer on your
yeah.
CV,
Yeah.
life insurers and general insurers don't hire you very easily.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the reason. I'll exactly tell you the reason. So we are when we are interviewing people, and we are interviewing people from this pension sector. So we used to ask, so pension, the life insurance product that is probably very close is annuity to pension, and we used to ask, is annuity a pension product, or annuity is a, what sort of product is annuity? I'll not give the answer, because then that will kind of jeopardize our interviews, right? but but I can tell you 99% of the people, 99% is a very high number, right? But 99% of the people from the pension sector doesn't know the answer for this, right? So very simple question. For example, what happened to a reserve if you increase the mortality? a very normal, a 85% level person can answer.
Fair.
A person from pension sector is so used to thinking in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H process oriented approach that he can't answer or she can't answer that
Right.
question.
So
So
basically, the
that's why
pension industry dumbs you down. It takes you from the level
yeah,
of
it's
actuarial exams and dumbs you down at
so
some level.
one thing Ramit, that you'll see is that most of the coaching center that has been developed in India, especially in Delhi, those are people from pension sector, right? They
That is true.
why they can do that? Because there the work life balance is much better. There you can go, there you can study a lot, there you can clear paper, right? But the practical work is very limited. So there you are driven on a process kind of role. You are doing your same thing. You are putting something in Excel, you are making some changes, and then you are running something, and you say, okay, my result is matching. So that would not help you,
Fair.
right? So you need to, so you would never became a good actuary. Forget about better or best. You would never become a good actuary just by clearing paper, right? You will only be an average actuary, that basic level actuary, right? But if you have to become a good actuary, you need to have practical experience. That's how the actual course is structured. And if you do not have that practical experience, and if you are not even sincere enough to learn, so if you want to switch into life insurance domain, you have to learn, right? You are competing with those people who are probably have some experience in life insurance domain, and then they are coming. But if you are coming from pension sector, you can't even answer what would happen if mortality increases, and you are fumbling, or you are taking a lucky guess because that is visible in your face, right?
Hmm.
You are not going to cut it. So I think that's the issue. It's not that we are banning the pension sector, right? Nobody wants to do that, and especially we don't want to do that, right? But the experience that we have, 99% of people do not have any knowledge about that. So they come for life insurance interview, they know nothing about life insurance other than the bookish thing. You can ask him what is the formula for the reserve, they will tell you. But you go
Right.
slightly deeper in reserve calculation, they can't tell you. So
Yeah.
that would not work.
I've always felt that this attitude of students and human beings in general is to just cram up formulas and just try to plug in values and somehow solve questions, but not to intuitively
Right.
understand the concepts and like the
Right.
math that goes into it. Almost nobody is interested in the derivations. They always want the easy route. So yeah, that
Yeah,
is
that is
obviously
also one reason,
problematic.
that's why that is also one reason that core companies do well, because the things changes, like I mentioned, that your manager
Yeah.
tells something, his manager tells something, so the things changes very quickly.
Unless you
So
understand something at depth, you won't be able to
yeah,
adapt it to a different situation, and you
yeah,
won't be able
I
to
think,
tweak it.
right, your goal as an actuary should be to develop that intuition, right? For example, your mom probably knows when you are feeling sick, when you are telling a lie, when you are hungry, right? So that intuition you have to develop about actually, like
Sure.
something is not matching, you have to develop that intuition. This is the reason, probably I have to look there, that's why this is not matching. And a good actuary, or those who are the best in the industry, they would have that intuition, like if this reserve is not matching, probably this is because of the lapse rate, that is not correct. So they would go and they will check directly the lapse rate, they will find something else. A fresher
Right.
or a less experienced person, they will find 20 other things before finding the actual thing. So your goal would be to develop that intuition. That would never come by reading books. That would come only by practical experiencing, facing situation day in and day out, and solving issues, helping others to solve issues. That's how you would be developing that intuition.
Right, right. So now let me just ask a few follow-up questions there. As you mentioned that you face you find a lot of interviewees who don't meet up to your expectations. So what would be your advice to freshers and people who are still very new to the industry in terms of how can they make their profiles better, how can they improve their skill sets, and what do you particularly look for when you are looking to hire people? So what are the skill set that you look for, and what can people really do to get there?